What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 23 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We actually got 0 picks wrong and got 23 right, which is a 100% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right. We went perfect with a 100% win rate. So we are on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 100% win rate and get 23 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,200 just yesterday, and another member who won $150 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to D-Luck at 90 who said loving this one, and also shouts out to the real SRT Cam who said I'm joining your group ASAP. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this one and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight to the first pick, and when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Rhyne Howard. So Rhyne Howard, this one is for 4.5 rebounds, and this one is for less. Now looking at Rhyne, we've actually seen her go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on August 28th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had 4 rebounds there. August 30th, faced off against Dallas, had 4 rebounds in that matchup. Then September 2nd, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 4 rebounds. Then September 4th, faced off against Los Angeles Sparks, had 4 rebounds there. Then September 6th, faced off against LA Sparks and had 5 rebounds in that matchup. So we actually have seen Rhyne Howard actually go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, and her average over the last 5 is also 4.2. So significantly below this line. Now looking at Rhyne Howard and Atlanta Dream, they do have themselves a very good matchup against none other than Connecticut Sun. Now it is definitely going to be an exciting game there. Now looking at this matchup, we do also know, starting off with Atlanta Dream, we do know Atlanta do come in actually at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. Not only do they come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA, but they also come in the 1st spot in the Eastern Conference. Now they actually have a record of 28 wins and 14 losses. That's a 66.7% win percentage. They're also 15-6 from home, 13-8 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So very interesting to see there. Now coming into this matchup, we do also know, looking at someone like Rhyne Howard and Atlanta Dream, they face off against Connecticut Sun, where Connecticut do come in at the 11th spot in the WNBA, but also come in at the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. Now they have a record of 11 wins and 31 losses. That's a 26.2% win percentage. They're also 7-14 from home, 4-17 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it's definitely a big thing there. Now coming into this matchup, we do also know when it comes to Connecticut Sun, they face off against Atlanta Dream, as we've mentioned. But looking at where Connecticut Sun do rank defensively when it comes to rebounds allowed, we do know Connecticut Sun do come in at the 11th spot when it comes to rebounds allowed. So when it comes to this matchup, a big reason, however, why we do like the under for this situation is that when we look at Connecticut Sun, we do actually see that they actually rank, very high when it comes to restricting rebounds to Rhyne Howard's position. Now Rhyne Howard, as we all know, does play that guard position, and she does it at a very good rate. But when it comes to actually, Connecticut Sun, we definitely are expecting them to really put the pressure on, that guard position, which is Rhyne Howard, and kind of restrict her in that category. Now looking at their last matchup against each other, which was actually on September 2nd, we saw them face off against each other, and she actually did only get 4 rebounds in that matchup as well. So that definitely helps us when it comes to looking at her past. But as we also know, we do all know that Rhyne Howard's usage rate in the actual rebounding department has fallen quite a bit. We have seen her go in the under quite consistently, and that's why, it's definitely taken a huge effect there. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation for someone like Rhyne Howard. The Rhyne Howard 4.5 rebounds for less, I think, is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Briana Jones. So, Briana Jones, as we all know, great player as well from Atlanta. And this one is actually for none other than 12.5 points. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Briana Jones, we actually have seen her go on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. We see on August 28th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had 19 points there. August 30th, faced off against Dallas, had 16 points. September 2nd, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 10 points there. And September 4th, faced off against Los Angeles Sparks, had 16 points and also had 12 points against LA Sparks, again, of a back-to-back on September 6th. So, we have actually definitely seen Briana Jones do a fantastic job over the last 5 games. Her average over the last 5 is also 14.6, which I think is fantastic to see. And on top of that, we do also know that Atlanta Dream face off against Connecticut Sun. And looking at the matchup, we do also know, looking at these teams, you know, we have already touched on it, but as I've mentioned before, this is the only WNBA game for today. So a lot of the picks are going to be, you know, from this game, and there may be some overlap with the picks. But looking at these two teams again, just to reiterate, Atlanta Dream do come in at the 3rd spot, as we mentioned, but in the actual WNBA, but also come in the 1st spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 28 wins and 14 losses, but over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 7-3. Now, Connecticut Sun on the other side do actually have a record that puts them in the 11th spot in the WNBA, but 5th in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 11 wins and 31 losses, but they also have a record over the last 10 games of 5-5, so a little bit mid-tier there. Now, looking at actually Connecticut Sun defensively when it comes to points, we do know Connecticut Sun do actually rank 11th when it comes to points allowed. So they rank very low, and on top of that, they also do a very poor job at restricting points to the forward position. So that's why we are expecting the over for someone like Briana Jones coming into this game. Now, for someone like Briana Jones, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job, but on top of anything else, a big thing for us is that when you actually see Briana, when it comes to, you know, her actual usage rate out there in the points department, it does remain very high. Now, looking at the last 5 games, we do also know, you know, they did face off against each other on September 2nd. Now, obviously, Briana didn't actually, or wasn't able to perform to her liking. She did only get 10 points in that matchup, but we are expecting in this, you know, next matchup to actually see her go on the over there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for Briana Jones. So Briana Jones, 12.5 points for more, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about a great player, which is none other than Marina Mabrey. So Marina Mabrey, great player. This one is for 13.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Marina Mabrey, this is now the other side of this matchup, but Marina from Connecticut Sun has actually gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Looking at the last 5 games, you know that on August 28th, faced off against Dallas, actually had 18 points there. August 31st, faced off against Minnesota, had 14 points. September 2nd, faced off against Atlanta again, had 12 points. Then September 4th, faced off against Chicago, had 0 points in that matchup. And then 23 points on September 7th against Phoenix. So, you know, we definitely have seen Marina Mabrey go in the under quite a few. Now, her average over the last 5 is actually 13.4. So it's actually under her averages. Now, looking at their matchup, we do all know Connecticut face off against Atlanta Dream. Now, we probably don't need to mention the rankings again. You do know where they rank. But we do know Atlanta Dream have a 66.7%, you know, win percentage. While on the other side, we also know Connecticut Sun have a 26.2% win percentage there. Now, coming into this next one, we do very much like the, you know, under for this one, because looking at Atlanta Dream, we do see Atlanta Dream ranks 2nd when it comes to points allowed. Not only do they rank 2nd when it comes to points allowed, but we also do know when it comes to Marina Mabrey, we do also know that she is a guard, and Atlanta Dream do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We are definitely expecting a lot of the defensive focus as well to be on someone like Marina Mabrey, due to the fact that she is one of these, you know, main players, I would say, for this team. And Atlanta Dream, they do like to focus in on stars, hone in on them, and try to restrict them as much as they can. So coming into this matchup, we are definitely liking the under for it. When you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have our favorite for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Marina Mabrey, 13.5 points for less, I think is a a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Saniya Rivers. Now, as you all know, Saniya Rivers, great player from none other than actually Connecticut Sun. And we have seen her do a fantastic job so far this season, actually averaging 8.5 points, 2.7 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and 1.5 steals. So it is a fantastic job to see there. Now, when we look at this matchup, we do also know when it comes to actually Saniya Rivers, we do know that she does play for Connecticut Sun, and Connecticut Sun do have themselves a very good matchup against Atlanta Dream. Now, as we mentioned before, when it comes to actually this matchup, we do also know that, you know, obviously Atlanta Dream and also Connecticut Sun is the only game for today. So that's why all the picks from today have been from this game. Now, just to remind you all where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Connecticut, we do know Sun do actually rank 11th in the WNBA. It has been a little bit tough for them. They actually rank 5th in the in the Eastern Conference of the WNBA, but overall rank 11th, and they have a record of 11 wins, 31 losses. That's a 26.2% win percentage. They're also 7-14 from home, 4-17 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it's definitely been fantastic to see there. Now, when we look at someone like Connecticut Sun, we do know that they face off against none other, like I've mentioned, against Atlanta Dream. And looking at Atlanta Dream, we do see a bit of a different matchup because Atlanta do come in actually at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. And on top of that, they also rank 1st in the Eastern Conference. So they do rank, you know, 1st in the Eastern Conference, 3rd in the WNBA. They have a record of 28 wins, 14 losses. That's a 66.7% win percentage. They're also 15-6 at home, 13-8 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So it is actually fantastic to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Saniya Rivers and Atlanta Dream, like the matchup between both of these teams, is definitely going to be an intense one. But looking at, you know, where actually Atlanta Dream rank defensively, we do know that they rank 2nd when it comes to points allowed, 2nd when it comes to assists allowed, and 1st when it comes to rebounds allowed. So we have seen Saniya Rivers, you know, especially coming into this matchup, we are actually expecting her to go on the under in this situation here. And a big reason for that is due to the fact that Atlanta Dream have shown time and time again that they are a fantastic team defensively, whether it comes to points, rebounds, and assists. So we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, looking at Saniya Rivers' last 5 games, we do see on the 26th faced off against New York Liberty, actually had an 81-79 loss there with actually 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Then on the 28th, actually faced off against Dallas. And in that matchup, or Dallas Wings in that case, actually had a 101-95 win with 11 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist there. After that, on the 31st, faced off against Minnesota, had a 94-70 loss with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then on the 2nd, faced off against Atlanta Dream, had a 93-76 loss with 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists there. After that, on the 4th, faced off against Chicago, actually had an 88-64 loss with 16 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So it has been fantastic to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Saniya Rivers, we have definitely seen her, you know, actually face off against Atlanta Dream recently. In that matchup, we did actually see her go under on her rebound and assist line. Now, she did make it over to her points line just by actually, you know, 1.5 when we look compared to her averages. But we are expecting in this next matchup, we should see a little bit of a different sort of outcome coming into this game. So we do very much like the under for this situation, as we mentioned, for Saniya Rivers coming into this matchup. So definitely keep an eye out for her there. Now, looking at the next player, we're going to be talking about Brittney Griner. So Brittney Griner, as we all know, fantastic player for none other than Atlanta Dream. And as we mentioned before, this is from the, you know, the same game. And looking at her stats or averages so far this season, it's actually 9.6 points, 5.3 rebounds, 0.9 assists, and also 0.1 steals. So we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job there. When we look at someone like Brittney Griner as well, we do know that she does face off against none other than Connecticut Sun. Now, we have already touched on, you know, where they do actually rank, but just to remind you or reiterate, we do know Connecticut Sun do rank 11th in the WNBA. But on top of that, also ranked 5th in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 11 wins and 31 losses. But what I also do want to let you know is that although that is their record, over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 5-5. So pretty mid-tier there. Now, looking at their matchup, or looking at the matchup, which is against Atlanta Dream, we do know Atlanta Dream do come 3rd in the WNBA, but also come 1st in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have been, very, very good. They weren't actually in this spot a while ago. New York Liberty was actually above them in the Eastern Conference, and they were a couple of, rankings below. They have been able to pull together some wins and actually have a 28-14 record. But over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 7-3. So they've actually done fantastic there. So looking at, Brittney Griner and Atlanta Dream, we do know when it comes to this matchup, we do know that, Atlanta Dream and also Connecticut Sun, it's definitely going to be an exciting game. Now, looking at Connecticut Sun, we do know Connecticut Sun do actually rank when it comes to points allowed. They do actually rank 11th. Then assists allowed, they do rank 11th as well. And then rebounds allowed, they also do rank 11th as well. So, they rank 11th in all 3 categories. Now, coming into this matchup, we still do very, very much like the over for this situation here. Now, Brittney Griner has definitely had some pretty, interesting stats over the last couple of games. But we are still definitely expecting the over due to the fact that coming into this matchup, we should see her get a similar amount of minutes, similar amount of usage rate as we usually do see. And if that is the case, we can definitely see her going on the over there. Now, looking at Brittney Griner over the last 5 games, we see on the 28th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces. She had an 81-75 loss there with 2 points, 5 rebounds, 0 assists. After that, on the 30th, faced off against Dallas, had a 178 win with 11 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists there. Then on the 2nd, faced off against Connecticut Sun, actually had a 93-76 win with 7 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist there. After that, on the 4th, faced off against LA Sparks, had an 86-75 win with 4 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then on the 6th, faced off against LA Sparks, had a 104-85 win with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So pretty interesting to see. Now, obviously, looking at Brittney Griner, she actually did face off against Connecticut Sun recently. Now, she did actually go on the under in actually 2 of those lines in points and rebounds, but she did only play 10 minutes in that matchup. So she didn't really do that well in that matchup, but we also did see a restriction in her minutes. Now, coming into this next one, we should see her get a similar amount of minutes, which is around that 15 minutes per game, and we are expecting those types of numbers or those types of numbers in the minutes department, which should definitely help her be able to go over on her line, especially against a team like Connecticut Sun here. So for that reason, we do very, very much like the over for this one. For someone like Brittney Griner, she has had a couple of games where she hasn't really, done the best that she has been able to do. But coming into this next one, we should see that change around, especially against a much easier matchup. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for someone like Brittney Griner. Now, looking at the next player, we're going to be talking about Aneesah Morrow. So Aneesah Morrow, great player, as we all know. Now, we do know when it comes to Aneesah Morrow, she has done a fantastic job, averaging 7.4 points, 6.6 rebounds, 0.5 assists, and 0.8 steals. So she's done a great job for Connecticut Sun, and as we do know, as we mentioned, Connecticut Sun face off against Atlanta Dream. Now, I don't really need to mention the rankings again, as we have already mentioned that, but I do also want to just say Connecticut Sun currently 26.2% win percentage with a 1-game win streak, and then also Atlanta Dream currently have a 66.7% win percentage with a 4-game win streak. So very, very interesting there. Now, looking at Atlanta Dream, we have mentioned this before, but Atlanta Dream do rank 2nd in points allowed, 2nd in assists allowed, and 1st in rebounds allowed. And this one's just kind of a no-brainer. We do very, very much like the under for this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for the under for someone like Aneesah Morrow. Another big reason why we do like the under for a situation like this is that when you actually look at, someone like Aneesah Morrow, we do also see when it comes to actually, her usage rate for this team, it really isn't that much high. And since it isn't really that much high, we do also know when it comes to it, because other players in this Connecticut Sun team are kind of main players than her, we should definitely see her or her actual usage rates suffer quite a lot. So for that reason, we do very, very much actually like the actual under for this situation here for someone like Aneesah. Now, looking at Aneesah, we do also know that Aneesah Morrow from Connecticut Sun faced off against Atlanta, but we have seen Aneesah over the last 5 games. On the 28th, faced off against Dallas Wings, had a 101-95 win with 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then on the 31st, faced off against Minnesota, had a 94-70 loss with 6 points, 11 rebounds, 0 assists there. Then on the 2nd, faced off against Atlanta, had a 93-76 loss with 6 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. On the 4th, faced off against Chicago, had an 88-64 loss, 2 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists. Then on the 7th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had an 87-84 win with 9 points, 13 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So very, very interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Aneesah Morrow, we have definitely seen her, go actually on the, under in some of those games and over in others. Now, looking at her matchup against Atlanta, we actually did see her go on the under in actually 2 out of those 3 categories, and mainly being the main ones such as points and rebounds, compared to her averages there. So that's why we did see her go in the under in last game, or in their game against each other before. So we are expecting a similar outcome coming into this next one. So definitely keep an eye out for the under for this situation for someone like Aneesah Morrow.